Hello, GovCon winners, and welcome back to my channel. There was a time I was chatting with my mentor. He owned this multi-million-dollar IT business. He had training. I just knew that he had this office. He'd walk in the door and the front desk person would say, "Who are you here to see?" And I would say his name and have to sign my name and sit down. And I thought, ooh, this is fancy. He's got like front desk person and a log book, and you got to sit in a waiting area. Wow, he must be doing really well. And so I met with him often in my early days. So at that time, I was really all in on diversity and inclusion. That was pretty much all I did, as well as some public speaking. And he said to me, "Kizzy, how are you going to sustain this business model?" And I said to him, "Yeah, but I have this work. I've been working on it for like several years. I started out as this intern." And he's like, "Okay, but that's one project." It's like, man, he's right. So I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And that's what I'm here to share with you all today. How you consistently get federal government contracts. It definitely begins with one, just like a job. It's so much easier to get a job when you got a job. It's so much harder when you don't have a job, and then you're stressing out and you're like, who's going to pay these bills? I mean, this is me. I'm talking from my perspective. It was horrible. It was stressful. I hated it. But once you get that job, you're like, yes, same as with government contracting. Same thing. You go through those emotions, and then you're going to have your yes moment there too. The first way you consistently get government contracts is you have to look at your business model and have a very frank conversation with yourself. There are those who have reached out that may be in janitorial, maybe in home health care, photography, sometimes graphic design, and some other areas. Oh, grease trap kind of stuff, portable showers, portables. Are these all products and services the government buys? Of course, yes. But let's look at the business model. In order for you to keep your doors open and to be profitable, how many of these kind of contracts will you need? If you're in the cleaning area, are your cleaning team members working 40 hours a week in one building? I don't know. I've never had janitorial work. I suspect no, based on my experience at Patrick Air Force Base, but I know that also could depend. Who knows? If you're providing portable showers or portables, how many do you need every month to make sure you have the cash flow, to make sure you're profitable? It's way more than one. Even if you have a long-term client, even if you're providing these things in Iraq or Italy or wherever in the world, you still need more than one client. So what's really important is for you to have an idea, kind of what's that dollar amount? What's that dollar amount that you need in terms of federal government contracts? Are you looking to make $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, 20, 30, 40, 50, 200,000? What is that number? Then that helps you back into how many contracts do I need to win every month? Every month. To consistently have work, this is not a space where you kind of bid or you respond to things and you're done. This is not it at all. This is like an ongoing marathon. This is like if there was a marathon that like never ended, kind of like the song that never ends. I know you're singing it, right? Yep. It's like that. It goes on and on and on. But in order to know where you're going, you need to have a goal, right? You have to have a target, because if not, and I promise you, because I did this, then you're all over the place and you win nothing. You don't want that. So begin with, you have that financial target. Then you can start to look at, well, how many proposals or bids do I need to actually win every month? Now you have an understanding of how many do you need to actually bid on. I've heard a variety of stats that you win 10 to 20% of those that you respond to. I think it definitely varies. However, you got to start somewhere. My win rate may be different than your win rate, which is different than IBM's win rate. There are a lot of factors that can impact it, but if you don't have any data, it makes it very challenging to even figure out, well, how many should I respond to? Okay, I need 3, so I'll just respond to 3. Maybe you need to respond to 20. I say 10x it. Maybe you need to respond to 30. It's something that you need to figure out. So then you have that, you're getting that cycle together. You have the target. Now you know how many bids that you need to actually submit. What you'll then start to do, in addition to this, to consistently have federal government contracting work, is ponder, do you expand this business model that you have? Maybe you're crushing it in the construction space. Perhaps it's a great time to supplement with staffing, or perhaps it's a good time to supplement with management of facilities, facility management. Who knows? Or maybe you're like, hey, I just want to go real wild and I want to start selling firearms. You can do that too, by making sure you're offering products and services that are in different segments. Helps with you being able to consistently have work. Because let's take training, for instance. When I started out, that was my bread and butter. I loved it. It's crazy. And especially crazy because my birth mother, who gave me up for adoption when I was like born, she was a school teacher for like 30 years. Isn't that wild? So wild. I'm really close to her today. So in case you wonder, maybe one day I'll talk about her. I digress, y'all. So I was like all in on teaching. I was like, yes, we're going to be this training company. And as I was looking at the opportunities and looking at my mentors, I noticed they're not just in training, they're in all these other areas. And one of my mentors went so far and she showed me this bar graph. She's like, take a look at this. We were right around where you are at the time, 1 to 2 million, because all we did was training. And as soon as we expanded into these areas, look, and then bam, it was like, she's like at 20 million. I was like, whoa, I want to experience that. So really, pivoting into these other areas makes sense, because when you think about especially something like training, how many organizations are looking to just spend all this money on training every single month? Typically, it's you've been trained. Thank you very much. It's a one and done. So those contracts that are out there where an agency needs some type of training and development on site as a full-time equivalent, how many of them are really out there? How many of them are really profitable? How many of them do you really have a likelihood, or did I have a likelihood of winning? And so pivoting, adding to your capabilities, it's key. Because you may have work where you're getting paid every single month and you're like, I can't even believe they're paying me this much every month. I can't even get over it. Then you may have other work where it's 6 months in duration, it's a year, or they only need it a few times a month. So then that way you're not experiencing this with your sales or your cash. Instead, it's steady, right? Because you're diversifying. And also want to say this, because there's going to be those people. But then, Kizzy, aren't you then like the Jack or Jane of all trades? And aren't you supposed to just focus in on one area? No, you don't have to do that. To get your first contract, yeah, you may want to, but it doesn't mean you always have to. IBM doesn't. Lockheed Martin doesn't. Raytheon, Northrop Grumman. Why do you? Why? If you want to, by all means. But to consistently have work, the more diversified you are, then the chances are you're going to pick up all this work as you're looking at your target, you're submitting the bids, then your win rate's probably going to go up, because then you're going to have past performance in all these areas. And then these agencies are going to start thinking, oh man, wow, they do all these things. Maybe there's something else we can have them do. Which brings me to my next topic. And that is, to consistently have work, you have to grow the work that you have. And this is where client relations comes in. It's not just simply, thank you so much. This is a great kickoff meeting. We'll do everything you said. Okay, great. Bye. And they never hear from you again. And maybe your project manager meets with them every month. It's like an election. Soon as someone's elected, guess what they're doing? They're already in re-election mode. And the same thing works in federal government contracting. This is your opportunity to find out, do they have any pain points? Have you noticed that maybe they need a little more IT support and that could turn into full-time equivalents for you? Maybe they've had some situations with their janitorial contract. Maybe that's something you're open to. Perhaps they reorged and you notice that maybe they need some team building training. Maybe that's something that you could assist them with. What's important is you're leading from offering them value, being a thought leader, not from, ooh, how am I going to line my pockets? Let me see how I can get money from them. If you're trying to lead from that way, I don't know if that's going to work. I personally haven't, that's not an approach I take. I remember one of my clients, he was talking about being in the bathroom and this contractor all of a sudden came next to him in the urinal and started asking him about contracts. That's not me. I mean, if that's your style, more power to you. It's just not my style. And it's not because I wasn't in the bathroom with him next to him in the urinal. It's not that. It's just not how I operate. I operate from a place of value to see where we really can help. And also it's dissecting if they have annual reports, if they have monthly reports, if they have weekly reports, if they have their strategy online or their big global master plan, they all have different titles, but many agencies will have some type of higher level strategy. And then maybe the sub departments may have something that's published to support it. And what's cool is you can go through it to see maybe you can fit a need. So for instance, the USDA had this initiative around competency model and evaluating their leaders and different things of that nature. That's my wheelhouse. Got a PhD in industrial organizational psychology. I love this stuff. So therefore, it was in kind of a nice kind of in because I was able to really piggyback off of that to recommend possible solutions to help meet these different mission objectives, right? And of course, that turned into a variety. It was, I think, 4 different task orders. The other way that you consistently get work is bidding on a blanket purchase agreement, a qualified vendor list, a IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. Point is this: BPA, QVL, IDIQ. In essence, you're bidding on this statement of work, on this opportunity, and they may make one award or multiple awards. And the people who have been awarded on these type of contracts then are provided the opportunity to respond to task order, or on a QVL, they may give it a different name, but it's limited to those on that list who then can respond to the type of work that was noted in that bid. This helps you with consistency because you could receive 5 task order in the first 2 months. There's a woman I've been chatting with on Facebook. She's kind of in this construction BPA, and I think she mentioned how she's won 6 already. And she's only had the BPA for a couple of months. So that's another way to have consistency. And they have these for hotels, they have them for construction, they have it for training, they have it for staffing. They have these types of setups and QVLs and IDIQs for a variety of different areas. These are great places to go because it does not require being on a GSA schedule. It doesn't. Now, if you are maybe more advanced, or perhaps you're on a GSA schedule or you're pursuing a GSA schedule, that's another way to consistently have work because you're narrowing the competition. In this space, you want to create your own ocean. That is the objective. So as you narrow the competition with the GSA schedule, BPA, IDIQ, client relations, it's going to give you the upper hand and help increase your win rate. Your win rate is in essence, percentage, the likelihood that you are going to win that opportunity. So getting on GSA schedule could potentially provide that too. I do want to caution, there are those who are like, I got to get on a schedule. I got to get on a schedule. Get on a schedule. You don't always need to. You can partner with someone who's on a schedule because you need to make sure the schedule makes sense. I had heard so many things about this magical GSA schedule. And the interesting thing is you can't even see the opportunities unless you have a schedule. And so my mentor, me behind her desk, she's like, let me show you, Kizzy. Here's what it looks like. And the platform automatically would feed the opportunities that she was qualified to bid on. That was it. I was like, wow, that's it. this is a letdown. So, I mean, it's just something to keep in mind, because as I started to look at those opportunities, I was like, oh, okay, these are a lot of one-off trainings, or maybe a year-long training effort, or a year-long organizational development effort. Okay, noted. I definitely want to get on one, but it's not what I thought. So keeping that in mind is super important. At the end of the day, what has brought me the most success is doing all of this, hands down, throughout time. It wasn't overnight. It wasn't in 2 weeks. It damn sure wasn't on a year. It's been over 10 years. But when you do these things, it leads to you constantly have work, and it'll put you in this position where now, instead of, oh, I just need to win my first contract, how am I going to win a contract? You will be, I don't even want to bid on that one. I know exactly what I'm going to bid on. And you're going to have a nice 5-year plan of what you're looking to bid on. So my amazing GovCon winners, y'all going to do it too? Comment below, check out profitablecontracts.co. Also, I'm going to take pre-orders for my new class soon at govconwinners.com. You can register on the wait list. You know, hopefully you know this, I love and adore each and every one of you. Please subscribe, hit the notification button, all those amazing things, because you're amazing. Because if you weren't amazing, you would not be here with me, especially to the end. I love all my people who stay to the end. I'm like geared up, y'all. Don't forget, everything is possible, y'all. Don't forget.